marriages, because our marriage.
No.
Our marriage.
No, it is not.
Or is it?
No.
It's not.
It's good, but there's no babies.
No babies. So, not that we know of just yet.
No.
She won't even. Okay, so moving right along. Hey, welcome to Live with the Millers. Can I get some air horn?
Oh, yeah.
Is it supposed to go on?
No, I was going to edit it in, so we got to pretend like
Okay. I'll say it's Miller time and then just hit the horn.
No.
Okay?
No.
Like,
Miller's time.
It's Miller's.
You can use a phrase in life.
In 3, 2.
Hey, welcome to Live with the Millers. It's good to be with you today. We are having fun on the set. Maybe a little too much fun. Maybe a little too much Red Bull.
Never too much.
Never too much. You heard it here first. You cannot shock your system enough with caffeine. True or false? Maybe false. So let's jump
I don't want to
in.
answer that question.
That's a good question for our audience.
Do what I say, not what I do.
Can you have too much caffeine? We want to hear from you.
Yes, you can have too much caffeine. You'll blow out your adrenal glands. There's actually a whole diet.
You won't blow them out like you're just like you blow out a knee or something. Like, my knee. You know, it's not. My adrenal gland.
It's not healthy.
Where is
your
it?
Adrenal health.
I just felt like adrenal gland blow out.
Did you just pull your adrenal?
I just felt like I blew it out. Oh my goodness!
In all seriousness,
just
I
finished
think you
that
have adrenal.
I was in the middle of a Red Bull the other day and bam, blew it right out.
You look at the tests and indicators of adrenal overload. I feel like you qualify.
You drain them. You don't blow them out. You deplete them. You deplete them. You can't. It's not like a blowout.
Oh yes, Dr. Miller, you're correct.
I hear you. We're going to talk about marriage today, so just be easy there. So hey, it's good to be with you today, and we're going to jump into, I think, a really amazing topic that is really relevant for today. And so give it to him.
We're talking about stress in your marriage.
Yes. It is going to be good. So, one of the things as we're just jumping into this series is a new show. So tell them ways we can get connected before we jump into the content.
So welcome to the YouTube platform. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell so that you get notifications on when we're going live. Make sure you leave a comment and let us know how you like the broadcast. So do those things. Drop a comment. Drop it.
Drop it hard.
Drop it in the comment box. Yeah. And we want to interact with you. So make sure you leave your comments as well. So never before has there been stress, I don't think in our lifetime, as we're dealing with now in
legit.
Pandemic zone.
Yeah, matter of fact, I mean, we even looked at some of the statistics, and 30% marriages are ending in divorce. Divorce has increased 30%. That's staggering.
That is staggering.
From already a 50%. In the last time this year, if you compared 2019 to 2020, marriages are ending in divorce 30% higher. And it really has to do with a lot of the stress that's being put in our world today. I mean, people are experiencing a lot of different stresses in their personal lives. We're seeing people burn out quicker. We're seeing decision fatigue. We're seeing a lot of these things that are playing into why relationships are breaking down. And
decision fatigue.
Yeah. People are having to make more decisions, especially people who are in higher positions of leadership, and where it's actually burning them out, where they're having to
their home decisions for their home. Are you going to send your kids to school? Are you going to homeschool them? You know, those are big decisions.
Yeah, things are breaking down. And, I think it really comes back to the foundation of what you've laid out in your relationship. And really, I think one of the key number one that we're talking about is just learning to identify stressors, learning to identify what is it that's causing strain in my marriage, in my relationships. And and really learning to identify that. It could be a number of things too.
I could call it out, call it for what it is. A lot of times you'll just feel overwhelmed by stress. It's almost like an overwhelming feeling. And when you feel overwhelmed, you feel defeated. You're like, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how to start dealing with this. And you just kind of categorize it as it's all bad.
Yeah.
It's all bad. My marriage is bad.
You gotta identify.
My life is bad. Not only were divorce rates up, like suicide, drug use, everything, that overwhelming feeling makes you feel like you're defeated. But when you call it out and you identify it, a lot of times you realize, okay, now I can deal with it.
Yeah, and I think just stepping back and saying, why am I responding like this to my spouse? Is it an external stress? Is it my business? Is it the environment that I'm now bringing into my home? I'm bringing chaos, turmoil, because you've got to learn to protect your relationship with your spouse. It could be anything from finances. You have to identify what is it that's causing these blowups. Sometimes it could be finance. Sometimes one other big one in relationship is communication. Sometimes it's intimacy or people's sex, life that these are top things that we're seeing in every relationship across the board of reasons or stressors that are happening in relationships that are ending in divorce.
Yeah.
Those are some of the top 5. We gave you 3 right there, but those are in the top 5 reasons why people are just calling it quits.
Yeah. And stress of everyday life were the things that you had listed. Like that's just in a normal year, but adding the chaos of 2020 to it.
She stepped in. Yeah.
And now it's like global chaos, and all of a sudden we don't even know like what's up from down. We don't know what to believe on the news, and it's just creating a stressful environment, a fearful environment that is actually causing and affecting marriages. I feel like to if they were stressed as it was, some of them are cracking under that pressure now. So
yeah. And I think a big thing, I don't know about our audience today, but I think one of the things that can help with stress, not only identifying it, but just sometimes having fun with it. Like that's one of the things we were talking about before. Like, what was one of your most memorable fun moments, or a thing you look back and you're like, that was a funny moment? I have one. It's really funny. It had to do with the workplace. It had to do with, I'm not going to mention names, but I will mention positions. All right. So our worship pastor, just to protect his name and everything. One night I came in, it was a Sunday. We had to do an online broadcast, and this guy was so committed. He actually stayed the night at the church. So first off, love the commitment. Amazing. But when I walked in, I found him in a Snuggie with the bed on the floor. And I look back and I was like, that was a great moment. And actually got a picture and everything. It was a memorable moment. Maybe we'll just throw that up for you right now, but maybe not.
Oh, man.
That was when I look back, I was like, that was really awesome. And the Snuggie was like the next level of it.
That's so good.
It was
so
good.
Amazing.
That was for me.
So
good.
I don't know what my favorite moment of the quarantine/pandemic was. We had lots of fun with doing family things during that time.
There was a moment where you were like casually talking about it could be the end of the world.
Okay,
and our
let's
daughter
rewind.
daughters had a breakdown.
I was biblically talking about
oh
things.
My goodness.
Okay, so first of all, I feel like it makes everyone a little uneasy at some point, like talking about the end of the world. Jesus is coming soon, and especially like children. So
that was hysterical.
Yeah, so I think I actually had him watch Left Behind.
Yeah, she did. You did. You like totally freaked him out. Our one daughter was like, I just have so much more to do in my life.
Like legitimately, they were crying and having a breakdown. And
then you were like,
and they were like, tell me the day. Don't you lie to me. When is it happening?
We're like, we don't actually know. And then you were like, you like dish it off on me. You're like, ask your father. And I was like, you can clean up your own mess. I was like, you clarify what you're saying. So anyway, we had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, it wasn't funny that they're upset, but
it was funny
the realistic moment that it brought out, though, because I feel like deep down in we're all like, "What? I have so much more to do."
There was so much stress in the moment.
So so anyway, but so stress can affect
Everything.
marriages in a huge way. So
Yeah, and until, it's like this. If you don't know your enemy, you don't know how to deal with it. You can't begin to create an effective plan to get out of it. So, really looking at the next step is in that process, and key number 2 to getting through stress and dealing with stress in your marriage, your relationships, this whole pandemic, is really learning to communicate. Communication is key. It's the key to getting on the same page. And until you're ready to talk about it, and be open, let's just open that up. Let's talk about it. Until you're ready to be open, be honest.
yeah, and that's huge because I feel like everyone's so busy all the time that it's easy to not communicate and still survive in life. So,
Or like everything's all right.
Yeah.
But what this is doing is it's exposing what is already broken,
Yeah.
what is already not
That's so
working.
true.
And this is just the icing on the cake. Let's be honest. Your relationship, if it failed during COVID, wasn't great going into it.
That's right, yeah.
Like this
I
just
mean, let's
was,
be honest.
was
Good
the-
marriages are having babies right now coming out of COVID.
Come on, there's
so.
some COVID. There's some kids. Maybe not all marriages, because our marriage,
Some. No.
our marriage,
No, it is not.
or is it?
No.
It's not.
It's
Anytime.
good, but there's no babies.
No babies. So, not that we know of just
That's
yet.
no.
She won't even. Okay, so moving right along from that. Yeah, I mean, I think, again, what is happening, we've got to communicate more. And one of the things that we've got to talk about is finding solutions, because the world shut down, to investing in a relationship, communicating, hey, I'm feeling like we're not connecting, instead of like, you don't love me, like this is the end of the world. Like, our relationship's bad, and just going to level 10, and I see that a lot with the relationships. They're like, our relationship's so bad. And it's like, well, maybe it's really not that bad. Maybe you just need a date.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it is bad, but it's like, you know what? Don't go to level 100 in your like evaluation of like, this is the end of the world and we should end in divorce. Like, maybe you just need a date. Maybe you just need to, like, one of the things we did, we just tried to find solutions. Like, what did you do? What do we do? I'm saying.
We would connect. We'd go on walks. We'd sneak away from our 5 children. We would go out the front door if they were around back, and we would sneak on little walks together. We'd talk about our feelings, our emotions, what's going on right now in the world. Really just healthy, like talking about stuff, talking about life, talking about stresses, talking about church life, talking about everything really. And it was like a 20-minute, 30-minute walk, but we came back feeling connected, re-energized. And here's the thing. A lot of times during the season that we just came out of, people hadn't talked about things for so long that all of a sudden it's like, here's
true.
a mess, figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, and here's some quick keys. I just mentioned it, but be open, be honest, be humble, be solution oriented. Those are things that when you're communicating, if you can keep those in place, I'm telling you, you'll get through anything. Because one of the big things about communication is that we get on the same page, and that, you know what, the way you think and the way you're wired is way different than me, and I'm way different than you, and we come from totally different worlds and different upbringings and how we handle things. So communication, the purpose of communication is really us getting on the same page and understanding each other.
Yeah.
So that we can, the next point, what we can do is we can find a plan. We can begin to work a plan.
Yeah. Siri's
Because-
talking to me.
Yeah, I hear her. She's trying to talk over me. So, it's working the plan. It's coming up with the plan. That's really the third key today to dealing with it, is finding a plan, finding a solution to the stress and what you're dealing with.
Yeah, definitely. It's realizing that it's not all bad, that it's figure outable, that your relationship is figure outable. Sometimes you just need to go back and stop thinking about all the bad. I feel like 2 people get married, they're so excited, they come together, and then all of a sudden, everything's bad, everything's wrong. Like, and really going back to, why did I fall in love with this person in the first place? Like, why do I believe God brought us together? And starting at that basis of things and saying, okay, we're going to figure out everything else. Everything else is just details of figuring out how we're going to make it work. And so, maybe you haven't been connecting. Maybe you haven't been on a date in a year because you had children. Maybe your children are now running your life and you need to reconnect. You need to figure it out. Well, we need to go on a date night. We need to erase, start start over again. Stop holding record against each other. Stop thinking about all the fights that we've had and all the reasons we've let each other down, and start from square one again.
Yeah, and you know what? Even something practical is sitting down as a couple and say, what is it that fuels our relationship? And just writing that down. You know, that's something so tangible. What is it that when we do that, you know, for you and I, when we get away, it always fuels our relationship. You know, sometimes our kids, you know, our younger kids don't understand, why are you going away? And, you know, one of the things I tell them, because I want to be intentional about teaching them, is when mommy and daddy get away, mommy and daddy's relationship grows. It keeps getting stronger.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we're going to be a better dad and a better mom.
Yeah.
Because the health of every family begins with the marriage.
And to be honest, like you as a husband sometimes feel like my attention's diverted because I'm taking care of the children all the time. So that's like nice time that I can focus on
That's
you.
true.
We can focus on each other without any distractions.
Yeah. I'm like, after the kids and then the dogs, I'm always no, I'm
That
just
is
kidding.
not true.
I'm
That is
just
a lie.
messing. I'm
So-
just with you, girl.
You would have
No.
more kids?
Yeah, but you know, whether it's you know, and those really have to do with the five love languages that Gary Chapman wrote a great book on, the 5 love languages. But it's like, you know, you have affirmation, words of encouragement, you have acts of service, you have you have
Physical touch.
you have communication, and you have gifts, and so you have all these things. Those are areas that if you're investing in your relationship are going to have a payoff. So one of those things refuel you. You know, it might be physical touch. You know, it might be that aspect of your relationship that fuels your relationship. So it's learning that where you say, you know what, when I walk away from doing that, I feel like I've invested in my relationship and we've grown stronger. So it's just learning to identify. And for everybody, it looks different. It might be a date night. It might be a walk. It might be, getting away in one way or another where you're just focusing on one another as a couple.
Yeah, it could be something as silly as like bringing home their favorite drink or their favorite candy bar from the gas station when you get gas. I mean, it doesn't have to be something super, extravagant or super expensive or super complicated. Like, just let your spouse know you're thinking about them.
So good.
You do that for me all the time. You'll bring me home like a Red Bull or flowers or I don't know.
So, good stuff. Hey, so real quick, flowers or chocolate? Let me hear you. Flowers or chocolate?
I don't eat chocolate.
What about for the audience?
Yeah, I don't know. They're going to have to tell us. What
Wow.
would you like? Flowers or
Come on,
would you like
throw it up.
chocolate? So
Let me see. Let's hear it.
put it in the comments, drop it below, and then your
Drop
spouse
it.
can go back and get a hint of what you would like.
It's a good
So,
question. So, as we kind of close this segment out, what would you tell a couple that their marriage isn't working? And what would we tell a couple that their marriage is good, but they want to keep taking it higher? Which one do you want to take?
You go first.
No, you take it. Go.
Yeah.
Call. You want to deal with the bad people?
I'll deal
the
with
bad
the
marriage
people
or
who
the
are
good
on
marriage?
the rocks.
Go ahead.
So,
good or bad?
No, I would say, if you're feeling like your marriage is struggling right now, first of all, you need to be open to counseling. Good
good.
godly
Get help.
counsel is great. Sometimes you need a mediator. Sometimes, if
Y'all
you're
are
trying to
too
communicate and it's
crazy.
just misfiring all the
What's
time or it
happening?
ends up an explosion, you need someone to mediate that. And that's okay. So go to a pastor, go to a Christian counselor and get help. Second, I would say, redefine that you're committed to each other and you're committed to the covenant that you have with the Lord. That, bailing out of this thing isn't on the table right now, that we're going to figure out how to work it out. It's too easy to quit. Don't quit. Stay committed to it. Longevity has rewards. So stick that thing out and work it out. Learn to communicate love, forgive. So really, it's just understanding God can restore all things. God wants to restore all things. So don't quit. Don't give up. There's hope.
Yeah, so I'm going to deal with a couple out there right now that is in a good marriage, in a good relationship. I would say this. One key is keep doing the little things. It's the little things that speak that you love, that you care, that you're being thoughtful. I mean, the fact that you're even thinking about them is going to mean the world to them. Like, oh my goodness, like I enjoyed the flowers, but the fact that you thought about me and blessing me, the thought is actually just as important as the gift.
That's right.
When you really think about it. So do the little things. Why? Because chances are really good, unless you're like some jerk, that when you started the relationship, like you were doing little things. Like you were doing the little things. Like, it's like you made your life all about you is what I'm saying. And that's not good anyway. So what I'm saying here is if you learn to do the little things that started your relationship, hey, send them a text. Like, hey, just want to let you know, and let it be thoughtful. Buy the gift, drive a couple extra miles to get, flowers or that candy they like. It's the little things that create momentum that will take you from just average or okay to good to maybe even great. So it's the little things you do that communicate and invest in your relationship that begin to snowball and cause big effect.
That's right.
So and here's the thing, don't always just take it from like, well, don't look at things through your own perspective. If that means something to my spouse, to my spouse, then it means something to me. And I'm going to go the extra mile to make that happen.
That's right. That's so good.
Bam.
So good. I hope you got lots of keys today. Write down your favorite points in the comments section. If you have any questions about marriage, put it in the comments. We'd love to engage and answer your questions as well. Don't forget, turn on those notifications, ring the bell so that you're alerted. And we can't wait to talk to you next time on...
Yeah, so thanks for joining us on Live with the Millers, and we will see you next time.